this video, we're gonna do something a bit different. I'm sitting inside the Lexus TX, their 3-row SUV. Instead of the traditional review format, we're gonna take this for a drive and we're gonna take a critical look at Toyota and Lexus as a brand in the United States at the very least, and discuss what they've done, where they're at today, and some of their future plans, and kind of the big picture idea of what they're trying to do. Of course, a lot of this is opinion because we drive all of these different types of cars and people ask us all the time, what do you think about this, that? And they're starting to run together, and that's a dangerous thing. A lot of that is just because, well, a lot of these vehicles are very much the same, but we're gonna discuss some of the reasons why in this video, and then we'll sum it all up. Take me to Japan.
With my turbocharged 4-cylinder, I can do that, Mark.
Nothing says $75,000 like a 4-cylinder engine.
That makes under that makes under 300 horsepower.
Yeah. In a massive boat. So this video is really designed around talking about where Lexus and Toyota are today and some of the things that we've seen them talking about. And of course, this is also understanding that the world doesn't need more luxury products. We're in the current generation Lexus TX.
A very important vehicle for Lexus.
Yes, a big hauler, big SUV. They sell a lot of these Lexus.
And we're not in a top trend. We're trim level. We're representing sort of the mass of these cars, which is the 350, lower trim, like plug-in hybrid, non-500. This is a 350 luxury that we're in.
So it's interesting to see because we've had these complaints how Toyota's gotten so much better in their commodity vehicles. And as a byproduct, you see Lexus is kind of marginally better. And some of it just happens to be, it's not the recycling of technology per se, it's just not having this clear differentiation across most of their products. And I feel like a lot of their differentiation is just now adding tech elements to their cars. And clearly it doesn't make it a bad car, but it's the layer upon layer upon layer of something that a lot of these luxury brands are starting to do. But Toyota is also recognizing that it's playing in a much more difficult space than it used to be. Just kind of doing the bare basics is no longer good enough because Honda and Kia, you look at like the Santa Fe we got up, that thing is incredible for $50,000. It does a lot of the things here that Lexus is doing for a lot more money. So we're seeing them start to diversify out, talking about doing an expansion of the LS moniker, which was just their flagship sedan, which to be completely fair is not very good.
No, it's not. We just got out of it. What I will say about the TX and the LS is that one of the things that hurts them is not only have the commodity Toyota products gotten a lot better, way better than they used to be, particularly in their sort of like Crowns and Camry space, and the new RAV4 is apparently very good. I think versus their true luxury counterparts, they don't do that great of a job. Like, we spent time in the LS, and the LS is not cheap, and really the only reason you buy a new LS is if you buy one used.
Yeah.
And you compare it to like a modern E-Class, and you could argue, right, like, sure, you can keep the LS for forever, theoretically.
Well, but, maybe. It's got the twin-turbo V6.
Which has its own unique problems.
Yeah.
But like a regular E-Class is a better luxury sedan than the LS.
I mean, basically every other luxury sedan's better than that car. I mean, you have to put it in the bottom of the list, and it's just weird because that brand
used to be peak.
Yeah, like LS was peak of like Japanese simplicity, luxury, reliability, and that car just seems like it got lost in the mix. I don't know what they were trying to do with it, but the point is it's like this. It's kind of, the Lexus brand is just slightly above Toyota. And I think they're talking about now taking that LS moniker and creating new form factors because there's so much competition in the SUV space. And I found out driving this quite a bit. Living with it, it's not that great. Like, brake feel, it's sluggish, it doesn't handle well, it feels ponderous while it's pretty quiet. The body structure has been stretched out to the absolute max here. It cannot compete with luxury.
Because it's on a mass market architecture.
Front-wheel drive architecture, right? And you feel it driving this.
This trim level that we're in, I don't think distinguishes itself that far from a regular Grand Highlander.
Right.
You need to go up in the TX lineup where you get rear steer, the PHEV drivetrain, and the AVS dampers to really
But that's exactly
demonstrate-
my
yeah.
point. You have to get this front-wheel drive platform that's shared with every single Toyota product to feel special. You're asking somebody to spend $80,000 on it, and that is a big ask.
100%.
And it's just not, like, again, it's like this middle ground brand, and like a lot of the luxury brands, they don't really know what to do anymore except throw tech at it. So it's not to say that they're not selling, it's just like a viewpoint, I think.
I think compared to the other luxury brands, and what you're bringing up in this conversation is that Lexus, I think, is going to try to go that direction, which is going to push them. You know, in the past, people bought Lexus products because they were reliable and they were less expensive than the German rivals. If Lexus is really going to go up market, like you're saying they're going to, they're about to cost every bit as much as the German and European rivals. So they better, I hate to say come to play in a real way, but they really need to, which I'm kind of curious to see how they do this, because you'll be competing against Audi, Porsche, the VW Bentley group for like luxury big sedans and SUVs, which, love it or hate them, you can't argue the fact that they've more or less perfected that formula.
Yeah.
They have the best electromechanical systems. They have the best drivetrains, maybe not reliability-wise, but best driving drivetrains. BMW, through CLAR, has one of the most impressive rear-wheel drive architectures that you can put a vehicle on, and you can't fault the way they drive.
So Lexus and Toyota have never had like an ultra premium product. The closest thing they've ever done is the LFA, and that's not really fair.
And the Century in their home market.
The Century in their home market. Okay, that's basically the peak. In current era, we're looking at LC500,
which is very old.
Is very old, and it's still on the same platform that the LS is, and it shares some of those similar problems that's masked by the fact that it's far more unique feeling.
It's charismatic.
It's charismatic, and it makes up for some of its deficiencies. But other than that, they have had nothing to compete with the Germans on pretty much any level, sports car or otherwise. So
you have the LFR coming out, though.
So that's the, okay, what are we going to see? And because everything takes forever to come out and all the testing, we know that they're talking about LS, which is luxury space, versus the luxury sedan concept, which means they're going to have new form factors of potential hybrids or electrified vehicles that are more boxy, that create a more living room environment, versus just this really tired SUV segment that is not packaged particularly well. And I know you and everybody else will tell me, oh, look at all the cubic footage. These are huge vehicles. Just because you have space doesn't mean it's actually flexible space. The ability to maneuver things around, to move seats and have configurability, that's what the SUV form factor is today that is not very good. So they're talking about flipping that, having movable seats, movable configurable interior spaces, more space to put things and actually hang out in. You know what I mean? Like a living
luxury
space.
pod.
Yeah, and I think there's an interesting place for that because we haven't seen it. And the other thing we've been harping on for a while is, where is the luxury minivan? And I think this is what we're going to start to see, because we've seen inklings from Mercedes working on this. They're actually coming out with something like that, and now Toyota's kind of pushing forward with that. And that's excluding the recent conversations about them bringing the Century moniker, turning that into potentially a global luxury brand, maybe initially in Japan like that it has been, but taking a platform that is going to be very high-end, not just scaling out what they have and splitting it across like 20 different commodity cars, but having something dedicated to deal with the Porsches, the Bentleys, the Rolls-Royce, like real rear-wheel drive, aluminum platforms, like high-end stuff. I'd be curious to see what they're going to do in that space as well, and how much it trickles down, because they're not pushing their engineering teams that far right now with, how much can you rescale a commodity platform?
What pays their bills is their commodity platforms.
Don't get me wrong, but in terms of product improvement, they don't have any of these high-end trickle-down products like a lot of the other brands do. And that's why I feel like a lot of these cars that we're in feel kind of hamstrung to that very narrow window of commodity plus, really.
I think they're going to struggle. I think genuinely, if you take an engineering team that hasn't done something in a very long time and you put them outside of their comfort zone, they don't have, I know this is like the most tired thing I say in these videos, but cycles of learning.
Yeah.
A team needs to work on a product more than once to typically be good at it.
Yeah.
You're pulling these guys effectively out of their comfort zone. I'm not saying they're not talented, but it's not something they've done for a while.
Right.
And get them to compete with brands that's all they've done.
Yes.
All they've done for a very long time. I think in the EV space, which you could argue if that's good or not, in the EV space, it'll be probably easier for them to compete in that. I hate to see, but it's not easier. Obviously, EV vehicles are very difficult, but you have a lot more flexibility when it comes to packaging to build that luxury experience in the car. But in the hybrid internal combustion space, when they compete with the other big brands, I think it's going to be tough. I don't think their first iteration is going to be that great. I'm curious, like the LFR, that is a tangible product that is coming out, how that's going to do against things like the Porsche 911 and the other cars in that, because again, they're people they've been making the 911 basically unchanged more or less.
You make
for
a
like
really
30
good
years.
point, and I think you're kind of making the point that I'm missing here is Toyota's gotten really good at commodity cars.
Yes.
And we always say, like, why don't other brands do it like Toyota? And the thing is a lot of brands don't have the focus of iterative improvements like Toyota and Lexus have, where I think they've iterated out. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like these are big innovations anymore. They're just throwing tech in them, right? Yeah. They're not improving the core things they need to improve because they have nothing else to work on. Other brands like, I hate to bring it up, but the comparison we did with GTD, ZR1, and 911, right? At least the Corvette and the 911 have been iterated to death.
Yeah.
Like in a very high-end area where a lot of these details matter. They know how to sweat the details and improve them, and you see it, you feel it, like everything is cohesive, and that just didn't happen overnight. No. Like they're really good at that. But what does Porsche struggle with? They can't make a commodity car. Yeah. What does Corvette and GM struggle with? They don't do good, affordable, they've gotten better, but they don't have a sedan, they don't have a car anymore, nope. Like in the affordable place. So it's like these brands have gotten very, very focused on these one little things. And this is what I'm talking about with Toyota and Lexus. Like I really welcome them trying to do something crazy. And even if it costs more money up front, getting those cycles of learning in these different areas to trickle back in here where these cars start to feel different again, because they just don't feel different anymore.
No, this feels like every other big three-row SUV that is not like, a big truck thing.
No, I mean, remove the three-row thing out of it.
No, this feels like every other car.
Like there's nothing you can get in here and say, it's a Lexus, yeah, it has some unique interior design, blah, 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 but every other brand has gotten so good at that too. A lot of it is
this might as well be an MDX or a Pilot
Agreed, and that's just it. So, when we talk about like some of these expensive cars, like why do you talk about them? They're not applicable. But a lot of these very high-end, like these hard engineering things to do that these brands have to spend a cajillion dollars on.
Down.
It does help these people learn things. And if you're not getting out of your brand, like a lot of these engineers we meet, they're in these jobs for life. And if they're not going outside other brands to learn, what do you do internally to get them excited to push them? And this is a Japanese product, of course, so we're a little bit removed in the United States from their mentality. But I love to see new things, and I guess that's my point, is like I hope these new things they're spinning up help make this brand better, because every time I get in one, it's like I shouldn't feel like take it or leave it. And I shouldn't be making the excuse all the time, well, it's a Toyota or a Lexus, and there's reasons why you buy it for that too.
In 2015, when you started doing like this job, I think there was a bigger distinction between like an RX and a Highlander.
Yes, yeah.
Now, because the commodity cars have gotten better, it's very, very good. Like the new Camry is excellent, and the fact that the new ES is now a 4-popper means I bet you a high-end Camry and a low-end ES are going to be really, really similar. They're going to have to do more in their luxury space to make them special. Acura, and you can argue how good they've done it, how they're doing as a brand, which is not that well. At least the MDX and the TLX are on different platforms than like an Accord, for example. I think that's what Lexus is going to have to do, and that make their products truly luxury products by distinguishing Lexus vehicles more heavily from regular Toyota products. So, Mark, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Nope. Well, thanks for taking the time to watch. Now, clearly, this is our opinion. It's not about right or wrong. just our experience with all these cars we drive. In the future, we're going to be talking about different topics, of course, with enthusiast cars, family vehicles, but more so to gauge the viewership's feeling on where the industry is going, what they'd like to see, your feelings and opinions as well, because it really does help to shape what we do and our feedback to the manufacturers. So thanks for watching. See you in the comments.